Hey, I'm Kenny Bryant. I own Chaos to Love Productions, and I'm a co-creative producer on the Back Pages web series that's up on Amazon and Tubi TV. And I was also the cinematographer on the first 7 episodes of the Back Pages.
And I'm Tom Green. I'm the writer and director of the Back Pages. And the Back Pages is a sci-fi fantasy anthology web series that it was actually mine and Kenny's first web series we ever made.
Yep. And we did it on a very, very low budget.
Well, we're not millionaires yet. It has been cool to have the success of being able to see the web series go from YouTube to a bigger platform like Amazon. And kind of what we want to do today was just kind of let you guys know a few of the things we learned along the way. So we're going to give you 5 tips for creating your first web series.
I think the first one for developing a web series is knowing what your product is. What is your web series? What is the stories that you're trying to tell? And who is your audience? Who is it that you're trying to reach with this web series? So,
yeah, I think understanding the idea is really important. Obviously, because this is going to be the foundation for what you're building. So you really want to have a good grasp on what you're creating and who you're creating it for. And your idea doesn't have to be like this brand new thing that no one's ever created before.
Right.
Obviously, with a sci-fi anthology series, we were inspired by the Twilight Zone, and we weren't necessarily trying to create another Twilight Zone, but we were just kind of doing our own take on it.
Yeah.
So whatever it is that you enjoy watching or inspires you, it's totally cool to run with that and sort of do your own riff on it, because whatever you make, it's still going to have your fingerprints all over it. But as you understand your idea and get a firm grasp on it, the next step is sort of casting that vision to your team you're going to build, because a film isn't something you do by yourself. It takes a village to create a film. There's several different artists that have to come together to make it happen. So casting vision is really important.
yeah, and for us, because we are a micro-budget web series, we didn't have any money to pay anybody. So all the more important to cast your vision. I think one of the things that we did pretty good early on was we had this great idea that we believed. And I think it's important that if you don't believe in your idea, nobody else is going to.
Yeah.
We believed in our idea. We went to people that we thought, both some experienced and some inexperienced, that just wanted an opportunity. But we were giving them an opportunity to work on something creative. And in the film industry, a lot of people are working on commercial stuff that is fun to work on but isn't always creative. So when you have something that's creative that you can build and bring this team around, it actually helps you a lot to build that team.
And on the flip side of the coin, something that I really learned in the process, Kenny has a lot of experience in business, so we kind of already knew this going into it, was it's okay not working with people.
Yeah.
Don't be desperate to build your team. Bring on people that are excited about the project. If someone isn't really wanting to work on it, it's going to save you a lot of headaches in the long run to just be okay not working with that person. So as you're building this project out, you're bringing people together, your idea is starting to roll, really important piece that I think we kind of missed a step on, that if I could rewind, I would have done more of this, is building out your social media ahead of time. Don't create your product and then build your social media, because if you actually have your social media running while you're creating your film, it creates an opportunity for you to build an audience so that when you do release your film, you've got people that are excited to see it and ready to watch it.
And though we didn't do that well, we did get the behind the scenes. We were filming all the time. So when we did finally get to that step, we had the content, we had the pictures. We actually had a person on set that was our behind the scenes host, which worked really, really well. Her name's Sabrina. And then on second season, when we started second season, it was Jasmine. And what they did is their job was just to go around the cast and crew and just get little mini snippets of videos and interviews and take pictures. And you can't have too much content for social media. So the more you can take, the more videos and pictures you can take, and interviews and takes, and really not just the good stuff. Some of the challenges too are just as interesting, if not more interesting, than what's going right. Regardless of your budget, whether you're a micro budget or you actually have some backers, you kind of need to know where you're going and where that budget's going. Too many first-time filmmakers have a chunk of money and then they start tossing it around and realize how quickly it disappears. Some of the things we spent money on were locations, because there's almost always fees for locations. And I'm going to talk about the business side. I'll let you talk about the creative side.
Yeah.
So we spent money on locations, permits, Food was a big one. Logistically, food is always a big chunk of your budget, especially on a micro budget, because if you're not paying your actors and your crew, you need to be at least feeding them well, and not always pizza and tacos.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, remember, story is always the most important thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even if you can't get that location you really wanted because it costs too much, or that piece of equipment that you really wanted to get this particular shot, you can still make the story work. And so the other consideration with budget is just having that ability to be super flexible. On our Western episode,
Yeah.
we had a location all lined up, and we got an estimate for it about a week before we were going
Yeah.
to shoot for like $1,400 or
Yeah.
something like that.
We thought it was gonna be free,
Yeah.
and so
Um,
1,400 was a big chunk of our budget.
So we had to make a decision. It was, allocate a ton of our budget towards one location that's part of one episode, or do a massive rewrite to make it work. And we ended up doing the rewrite.
In a week,
Yeah.
maybe
So-
less. Yeah.
So it was a huge change last minute, but in the same stroke, it gave us the ability to do other things in other episodes that we wouldn't have been able to do, because that was such a huge chunk of our budget to give all to one scene. So just understand that being flexible is really important with your budget, because usually when you're doing your first web series, you're on a micro budget and you can still tell a great story. So our last and final tip for you is be curious and ask questions.
Yeah.
Now, while one of the downfalls of there being so many creators putting content out is that it's hard to get your stuff seen, one of the cool things about there being so many creators is there's tons of people out there that are happy to help and answer questions.
Yeah.
The more you get into the indie film world, the more you'll find how communal it is. And if there's something you're trying to figure out how to do, you're not sure how to pull off a shot, whatever it is, just reach out to another creator. It's hard to get a hold of a Quentin Tarantino or a Steven Spielberg, but maybe someone that's only a couple steps ahead of you. They've done 1 or 2 web series. They're going to be a lot more apt to help you out.
Yeah. Stay humble. If you want to come across as you know everything and you don't want to ask questions, you're going to be stuck. But if you stay humble and you realize that, hey, nobody has figured everything out, and in any kind of shot or something that you're trying to pull off or stunt, or even how do you get a shot, how do you get that style of shot, if you'll stay humble and be willing to ask questions, you'll be amazed at how many people will come alongside you and help you out, and your story is going to be better for it.
That's so true. And on that note, before we close the video, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to answer any questions for you and help you out with your first web series, because we know it's a big task, but it's a worthwhile endeavor.
Absolutely.
All right, see you guys.